All right, good morning, everyone. All right, let's go ahead and get started for today, Thursday, November 30th. We have the following. First, let's look at the economic data. So far this morning, we had core PCE price index month over month, unemployment claims, personal income month over month, and personal spending month over month. All of them came in as expected, so no surprises on any of those. FOMC member Williams, excuse me, not Waller. Williams will be speaking at 9:15 a.m. The expectation is that it will have low impact. 9:45 a.m. we'll have Chicago PMI, which is expected to have a moderate impact. At 10 a.m., pending home sales month over month is expected to have a medium impact, and then that will be it. So um, probably won't be too concerned about these reports, although they'll have a moderate impact. They're not in red, so I'm not expecting them to have any dramatic volatility. However, we'll always be aware of them. And in the event that they start to show some significant impact, then that would be a good reason for us to vacate the market for a while until it settles down back into a regular mode of trading. Okay, so the major reports already came out, so their effect should already be factored in. So these, although they will have an impact at the time, uh, we just have to make sure we're watching our positions closely when this news comes out, but not a reason necessarily for us to avoid being in positions. All right, that being said, the NASDAQ right now is currently trading slightly higher than it was yesterday. Yesterday was mostly bearish. It had lots of waves up and down, but the clear pattern was a progression lower. And as of right now, market is fairly neutral after moving up slightly above yesterday's close. So taking a look here at stocks which were moving yesterday. Oops. I just realized my Thinkorswim's not open, or at least not the right one. Give me 1 second so I can pull up the platform to see the symbols that I had saved. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so as far as that goes, yesterday we had CrowdStrike, CRWD, which was able to get past its target number two of 227.59 and go well beyond that until it ran into some resistance above the market, where it topped out around 234 a share. Next up, we have VVOS, which was identified pre-market yesterday, and that did have a epic run. So after its activity pre-market yesterday, at first it wasn't doing anything, and then right over here it started to break out. If you're looking at those of you who are using Bookmap, you would have been able to see that it broke through some resistance and then took off at first, got stuck into some like kind of like a sandwich of support resistance, and then it broke away again. So the stock went from about 12.50 a share all the way up to over 47.50. So this is why we look in the pre-market, because sometimes you get moves like this, and obviously when they happen, if you're on top of it, it's a very large gain for very little effort. So that one turned up very well. That's what we're basically hoping they'll do, but usually they don't. Okay. For a firm, AFRM, this was able to reach its target number two in the second wave. It got close to target number two here, made a huge pullback, and then eventually got there. But for the most part, the trading opportunity was here. This rebound, even if you got into it, uh, basically there wasn't as much, there wasn't as good of a reward to risk. It was about 1-to-1 at that point. So 34.78 was target number 2. Datadog did not go past this target number 1. We identified it at target number 1, looking for it to go to target number 2. It only got halfway to T2 in this part of the move right about there. And then after that point, it just went flat. So didn't really go farther than what we were hoping for. INTC, however, was able to reach target number 1, but after that point, it never proceeded further. So target number 1 was 45.16. Lyft, on the other hand, was pretty much a straight shot to target number 2 at 11.95, and then it topped out at 12.04. Next up is Baidu, which was able to reach its target number 1, 119.85, and then topped out at 120.28, which was about 1/4 of the way to target number 2. Microsoft was bearish. It never reached target number 2 to the downside, but got really close. It bottomed out at 377.44, whereas target number 2 to the downside was 377.12. AMD similarly was not able to reach its target number 1, but got very close. Got up to a high of 125.73, which was 10 cents below its target number 1. On the bearish side, Meta was able to reach its target number 2 to the downside of 332.38. It was a pretty straight shot there. I was mostly looking at this after it already reached target number 1, just to be clear. Starbucks, we identified on its way to target number 2 to the downside, which it did reach eventually. It went below target number 2 to the downside, bottomed out at 99.53. Target number 2 to the downside was 100.07. Applied Materials, AMAT, was able to reach target number 1, but we identified it at that point. Got about halfway to target number 2 before reversing. So did make at least half the move there, but not much more. Airbnb, we identified on its way to target number 1, but mostly looking for it to get past that. Target number 1 was 128.80. It got halfway to target number 2, topping out at 129.58 before its reversal. Similar situation for Micron, identified after it hit target number 1. It got just over half of the way to its T2 before it reversed as well. Expedia, EXPE, was able to reach target number 1, no problem, 137.32. Got pretty close to target number 2, topping out at 138.73. Target number 2 was 138.96. And lastly, PayPal was a complete disappointment. It got to target number 1. We were looking for it to go to 2, but very shortly after passing target number 1, it completely collapsed in this bar here, and led to a very sharp reversal. Okay, where after it got through the YCTO yesterday, it was able to advance almost to its T2 to the bottom. So it was a pretty big reversal. All right, so that's what was moving yesterday. Those were the majority of the opportunities. Looking at the pre-market right now, let's take a look at what we got. So pre-market BGLC is on our radar. This one had a really good move yesterday, relatively speaking. Not a stock that we would have been watching yesterday because it was trading under $1 per share. But as of right now, it's at $1.23 per share, so it's above $1. That qualifies it at that level. It has a 13.76% price change. 1.5 million shares. It's NASDAQ listed, of course. Those all meet our minimum criteria, so we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market radar. Remember, this is focused on stocks in the pre-market radar, not options. These are stocks that potentially we can trade pre-market, and then there's also the possibility they may make a move like VVOS during the day. Next up, we've got CMND, 66% Price change, 2.5 million shares traded. It is at least $1 per share and NASDAQ listed. So we will add that to our radar as well. Next up, we've got SMFL, which is currently up 64%. So it's flipping around. 1.7 million shares traded. It's at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add SMFL to our pre-market radar. Next up, we've got this one. Let me check something really quick. It's not a NASDAQ stock. Okay. Next up, we've got ADTX, which is currently up 45% on 2.8 million shares of volume. It's trading at $5 a share, which is above $1 per share. So that puts it into our list as well. So we'll add ADTX to our pre-market list. All right, now IMGN looks like it's up due to a buyout. Let's see, yep, AbbVie to buy Immunogen for more than $10 billion. The shares are valued at $31.26 a share. Now, that means that this stock, unfortunately, is no longer going to be an opportunity for us to trade because of this buyout deal. Anytime a takeover occurs, the stock usually moves very close to the buyout price, and then it gets stuck there until the buyout is completed. So therefore, 31.26 is the actual buyout price. So this is a significant discount below that. So perhaps there might be some room for this to get above $30 a share, but it should not go up to 31. It should stay well below that, but it may be able to get above 30. So if you want to look at that today, you can, but don't expect much from this because it's not likely to do much at all. So I won't add that to our radar, but just giving you a heads up on what to expect. All right, next up we have RDHL, which was also on our radar yesterday. It's currently down 27% on 3.5 million shares, trading above $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that RDHL to our pre-market radar. Although this is not on my scan, VVOS, I just want to look at it really quick. So as expected, the stock is gapped lower. For those of you who are in the mentorship, the intensive group mentorship, I went over the reasons why this will probably gap lower than where it closed yesterday, and that proved to be correct. So I will, in later class, I'll go ahead and go over that with you guys who are in the mentorship program. For everyone else, this one, of course, is not. This one's not on our radar today because it has not traded enough volume, but everything else would have been fine. So this one may come up later in the day, perhaps. So I'll put that on a possibilities list, but as of right now, VVOS is not qualified. All right, folks, so if you see any other stocks that meet our 4 criteria, let me know in the chat. What we need is a stock that is trading at least 1 million shares of pre-market volume. We need a stock that is at least $1 per share. Of course, it has to be NASDAQ listed, and it needs to have at least a 6% price change, positive or negative. All right, SR8, Steve mentions VFS. Let's take a look. That does qualify. 22.35% change in price, 2.7 million shares, good, and it's at least $1 per share, all good. So we'll go ahead and add that to our radar. VFS is the symbol. All right, any others that you guys see that meet our 4 criteria? Let me know in the chat. We'll go ahead and take a look. So again, any other stocks that meet the 4 criteria? NASDAQ listed, at least 1 million shares traded in the pre-market. Stock must be at least $1 per share. and must have at least a 6% price change, positive or negative. If you guys see any other stocks that meet those 4 criteria, go ahead and let me know in the chat and we'll take a look. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up here for the pre-market pulse. Folks, please be sure to like the video. I see we have 12 likes, but I know more than 12 people are watching, so please go ahead and like the video. That greatly helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. All you have to do is click the subscribe button and on the YouTube page, and that'll allow you to go ahead and get set up. So anytime we publish new videos, I will begin publishing more videos. I already have been on a regular basis, but we're going to do some more videos just about general topics going forwards. All right. Other than that, if anyone's watching this replay, please be sure to check out fundertrading.com, our website. There will be a link in the description of this video. Otherwise, for those of you in the coaching program, I'll see you there in about 20 minutes, and we'll pick up from there. All right. Otherwise, everyone have a great trading session, and I'll see everyone for tomorrow's pre-market pulse on December the 1st. Take care.